Hey there crew members, Starfleet personnel. Welcome to this special deep dive into the interior build of the original USS Enterprise 1701. This video is essentially, I'm going to be straight up with you, essentially it is a promotion for my Patreon, okay? But before you run away, it's perfectly okay if you've got no intention of becoming a Patreon. I'm cool with that. But I think it's important. I've been asked quite a few times now, so what is the deal with the Patreon then? Do I just sign up and whatever? So, as many of you know now that have been following this channel, when you sign up to the Patreon, you are allocated your own private stateroom, your own private quarters, on board my version of the USS Enterprise, the original USS Enterprise. You have your own quarters with your name on the door and several personal items, the information of which you will send to me, and then I will create that as a 1/25th scale, okay? But I'm going to show you all this in the video. So even if you have no intention of becoming a Patreon, hopefully you will enjoy the video, because in a moment I'm going to take you, we're going to walk together down this long corridor on the outside edge of the saucer section on deck 7 to one of the crew quarters. The crew member is Yeoman Emma Thompson, not the Emma Thompson, and she's kindly allowed us to have a look into her quarters. Okay, so in the quarters you will see the 1/25th scale easel, a piece of artwork, and a chair. Okay, so those are her personal items that she requested to have in her quarters. Okay, so that's in a moment. Just a few words about the build and about this USS Enterprise. This video, I think this is video number 37, so I'm going to use this as a reference. So whenever anybody asks me about Patreon in the future, I'm going to refer them to this video. When anybody asks me about things related to canon, I'm going to refer them to this video, because the canon thing, okay, I know it's important to many people, and I appreciate that, but it can be quite restrictive in terms of the idea of what canon can't be done or shouldn't be done with this beautiful iconic starship. So the way around that I've got, without violating any of the canon, is to imagine this version of the USS Enterprise in its 4th and 5th year of its mission, which nobody ever saw. Okay, so after season 1, 2 and 3, when the Star Trek TV series ended, that was 3 years of the 5-year mission of the USS Enterprise. So we didn't see the other 2 years of this 5-year mission. Even though, yes, I know some people are going to come in and say, well, the animated series was the 4th and 5th year of the mission. I'm going to be perfectly honest here, okay? For me personally, maybe not for you, it's all okay, but for me personally, the classic Star Trek series ended for me when the live action 3rd season finished. I've seen some of the animated TV series, I've seen it, and it's very well done, and it has the voices of the original cast, which is wonderful. But for me, I couldn't make that jump from the live action with Leonard Nimoy, Shatner, Kelly, all of those fantastic actors. I couldn't make the jump from that to a cartoon, even though the cartoon was excellently produced. So for me, it all ended there on the 3rd season. So this ship, that I'm doing. My idea is that after the third season, the third year of the mission, the Enterprise underwent a minor refit and an update, a minor update. So that gives me the freedom to change things slightly, to alter things slightly, to update the ship. For instance, like on the bridge, I'm widening the view screen slightly. It just looks better. I'm also updating the controls on the ship, not to the LCARS panels that we see in the Next Generation, not to that, but definitely a few clicks up from the switches and toggles and things like that. Especially, you know, areas like auxiliary control that we see in episodes like the Doomsday Machine. The controls in that look like big wooden painted blocks that you find in the kindergarten, you know, that kids play with, like that, and I'm updating that, okay, and a few other things that will look slightly different from what we saw on the show, like some of the plant on panels on the walls in the corridors, and some just very other subtle things. But essentially, this is still going to be a classic, original Constitution class heavy cruiser USS Enterprise 1701. The style, the feel, that whole thing. Before we walk down the corridor together, I'd also just like to add something about the windows on the ship. My idea with the windows is that they are some kind of transparent composite material. Some people will say transparent aluminium. I'm going to say that like 100 years into the future, it's going to be something so much stronger than aluminium, some kind of composite material, where the window, you know, like, it could be like something that goes and opens. But my idea, and we actually have this now, is where the window can either be see-through or not see-through at the touch of a button. Have you seen those windows that you can get? They're fantastic. And I don't know what the technology is behind them. I have to research this, but you can actually get it where I saw it in like a shower room. So the person can either just push a button and the glass doors on the shower become opaque. You can't see through them. Or you can push a button and then pop. It's like magic. And then you can see through them. It's like clear glass. So my idea is that the windows on this Enterprise are going to be like that. So the crew member comes in, and if they don't want to look out of the window, there, and then it's just a blank wall, and if they do, boom, there's your window. I want every crew member to have a window, so as much as I can, I'm going to have all of the crew quarters on the outside of the saucer section, on deck 7, on deck 6, in the secondary hull, on the outside of the hull, so that every crew member has a window. Now, of course, from the outside, when we see that, at some points, you know, there will be a lot of windows showing, then there won't be so many windows showing, and the windows, you know, as the crew members finish their shifts and go to their quarters or whatever, the windows will be the lights in the windows will be going on and off periodically. So again, that is another difference between what we saw on the show, because the Enterprise on the show, it only has those, I can't remember how many, 5 windows on deck 6 and 2 windows on deck 7 with a round portal, and that's all we have on that. And I think we can all agree the reason for that is budget. So the studio model, it would have either have had those windows, or it would have had a lot of windows or whatever, but purely for budget and time constraint in filming, I think we can agree on that was fairly, that is why it was fairly fixed. But that's going to be different on this ship. I'm actually rambling on a bit now about the windows, so I'm going to finish. But anyway, those are my general thoughts about the windows. Let me know what you think about that in the comments section. As you know, I really value the comments. But now, hey, come on. Let's walk down that corridor on deck 7. So here we are, we're on deck 7, on the outer edge of the saucer section, and I'll just turn in and show you, there's the ladder that the crew members will either go up to deck 6 or come down from deck 6 into this deck 7 corridor. We're just walking down. You can see that those beautiful overhead beams and those TOS style plantons on the wall. Those two doors are maintenance, storage or whatever. This planton that we're coming to now, my idea is that this is some kind of firefighting location, and my idea is that if there is a fire on board the ship, then the section can be sealed off very quickly. Personnel will be evacuated from that section, and then via this thing here, all of the oxygen will be sucked out of that section that has been sealed off, starving the fire of its oxygen. If it's a more complex fire, and you know, maybe, I don't know, like an electrical fire or a chemical fire, then of course the area will be sealed off and specialist Enterprise firefighting team will go in and deal with that fire, followed by damage control parties. Alright, so here we are, arriving at Yeoman Emma Thompson's crew quarters, and you can see the nameplate on the door. So now let's take a look inside. There we see that incredible starfield through the crew quarters window. So this crew quarters will be on the front edge of the saucer section on deck 7. Let's have a look inside. So there's the nameplate on the outside. Yeoman Emma Thompson, and as I said, this is a test model, so in the final model, as is correct, it will actually say above that name Yeoman Emma Thompson. So let's go inside these crew quarters. There you can see, as you know, she's an artist, so I've made a 1/25th scale easel with a piece, an actual piece of her artwork on that easel, and the chair, the wooden chair, that is a special item that she requested on board. And just look at that. Just look at that starfield house. I mean, imagine you finish your shift on the Enterprise, you walk down this corridor as we just did, you open the door, and there you go. Let's take a closer look at that from a different angle. Let's go in. Inside the crew quarters, near the living area, you can see each crew member has a personal workspace where they can access the computer library. They'll just come down to ground level there. So this is the living area. In this part here, there will be kind of a sofa that the crew member can sit on and relax and put their feet up. As you know, my idea is that each crew member, and this might sound a little bit extravagant, but it's not. It's not. Each crew member will have a small private sauna in their quarters, and there it is. It's a shower and a sauna at the same time. So if they really need that private space, there you go, there they have it. And across to the bathroom facilities, which does have a window in it. So coming back out, moving through into the sleeping area. So there is very comfortable bed with a nice silk sheet on it, and there's that lovely piece of abstract art that Yeoman Thompson has created. And again, here I'm thinking of putting like a, you know, like a two-seater sofa here. I mean, can you imagine that? Sitting here with a nice coffee, looking out at this through the window. Wow. And there the Enterprise is moving at something round about its standard cruising speed of warp factor 2. And there, just a bit of a long shot of that window with the star field moving by. The mechanism behind this sliding door, this Enterprise sliding door that you see here, is super simple. We come over here and look down between the wall panels. You can see that here's the door, there's the door right in the middle, and then you can see that extended piece of card coming out here that is pulled to open and close the door. Okay, so even though that is a super electrical, non-technical effect and very effective, it is actually really precise craft knife work. And actually, this is the craft knife that I normally use when I'm cutting out like corridor panels and things like that. But when I'm doing things like the door, I'm actually using a scalpel. So you can see the difference in those blades there. The craft knife has this kind of blade, and the scalpel has a slightly different kind of blade. It's a lot more accurate for cutting. And when I'm doing things like cutting out the cardboard to make these doors, it has to be like super precise, literally down to 0.5 millimeter, because as I open it, if I can get in close enough there, you can see that between the inner wall and the outer corridor wall, there is this space here right in the middle, so that the door can slide between those, and they have to be applied so accurately. And these are all the blades that I go through. Each one of these, you get 5 blades in each one, and to do such things like the doors and other precise work on this model, I'm working with about 5 or 6 or 7 cuts per blade before I change the blade, because it has to be absolutely sharp to get those precise millimeter, 0.5 millimeter measurements. So this it's not cheap. It's a bit expensive. I mean, 5 of these is something like I don't know, $6 or $7, I think, or the equivalent thereof in whatever. Actually, that's I just noticed that that's actually tiny little people in that one. They must be in some kind of stasis or something. Anyway, yeah, here's another one with the actual blades in it. But yeah, only 5 blades per packet. I'm just literally going through hundreds of those to get these precise measurements there. Yeoman Rand, she's Yeoman Rand. Sorry, Yeoman Thompson. Yeoman Thompson is into coffee, a bit of a coffee specialist, so that reminds me that I need to go and grab myself a coffee now. Let's take another stroll down that corridor, because we all know that, you know, if this was a full-size set, that we would just be walking up and down it all day. Okay, walking down here one time is not enough, so we're just going to have another stroll down this incredible corridor. We are on the outside edge of the saucer section on deck 7, and that is why this corridor is so wide and so open. Okay, turning around. we're just gonna go back the other way. Like the title says, at the moment I'm actually living on board the USS Enterprise, because when I do these models, I get so involved in it that I'm actually on board the ship. I really am. And hey, yes, another plug for my Patreon. You can live on board this ship as well with your own quarters. And you just saw how fantastic they were. Just for fun, I'm just going to show you how that was filmed. I mean, it's fairly obvious how it was filmed. I mean, I just went down the corridor with the camera, of course. I don't have any sophisticated equipment like a camera dolly or anything like that, or Steadicam. So just to keep that walk down the corridor smooth, I mounted the camera on these books here. I mounted the camera on these books. This is a mock-up of my camera, by the way, because I only have one camera, but I just wanted to see. So this is a mock-up of the camera, and it's on these books. And the reason it's on these books is the underside of the book is really smooth and shiny. So when it's down on this cardboard surface, it moves really, really smoothly along this surface here, instead of me holding the camera and it's all kind of you know, all over the place. So I mounted the camera on these books, which moves very smoothly. It has the same effect of either a camera dolly or a Steadicam. So this is how it went. This is how it went down, folks. So I'm here, and then I had my wonderful assistant, because here you can see that there is a wall in place. So as we begin to walk down this corridor, this wall needs to be removed. Okay, so this is not glued down as the rest of this is. And also you can see here that there is no wall here. But the great thing is, because of the curvature of the corridor, when the camera is at this point, that curvature means that you cannot see that there's no corridor here. Okay, so how it happened is, like, click the record button, and then we can see the corridor for a moment, but then I changed the angle to the ladders leading up to deck 6, and then my assistant took this part of the wall away, just like that, giving me clearance then to smoothly walk down this corridor and show elements like the plantons and the doors, and eventually arriving at Yeoman Thompson's crew quarters right there. Okay, so that was just for fun. I mean, these are the kind of things that you do when you don't have when you don't have these specialist equipment like camera dollies and all that kind of thing, which will be there at some point in the future. But just for now, you have to use a little bit of creativity and ingenuity. Okay, crew members, Starfleet personnel, so we come to the end of another video. I hope you enjoyed that little walk down the corridor. I just want to say that all of the subscribers, everyone who clicks the like button, I appreciate it so much. People that sign up to Patreon, I appreciate it so much. The link to my Patreon is in the description. It's not expensive. It's like $5 a month. $5 a month and you get your own quarters on board the USS Enterprise. I mean, hey, come on. And also this model that I'm building is actually my full-time job now. People have said to me that when this is finished, and it will be finished, it will actually be world famous, and I'm actually going to get this in the Guinness Book of Records because it is the largest interior and, as far as I know, exterior build ever done of this iconic, incredible ship. And it is definitely the first, it's a world first in terms of the fact that it's the entire ship. It's not just the bridge or a shuttlecraft, also it's the entire ship, bridge down to deck 24. So massive, major, exciting project. And something that people sometimes leave in the comments or messages on other platforms saying that I really hope you get this done, I really hope you realise this model and actually get it done. And I've got something to tell you. In true Star Trek style, it already exists. It already exists in the future. About 3 years from now, it's already there. And the only thing that I'm doing is I'm catching up with that timeline. Okay? So it's not a matter of I hope you finish it or do you think you can get it done. It already exists, folks. In the future, the not too distant future. Let me know if you have any questions around this build. Let me know if you have any questions around the Patreon. Patreon is not difficult. It's very simple. You just sign up, boom, that's it, and then you get your quarters on board the ship. You also receive, closer to the time of the finished build, you also receive from me in the post, not by email, but in the post, you receive from me a certificate stating that you are an official crew member on board the ship. So if you're a real doctor and you sign up, let me know, because then it might be that you're okay going into the medical section, one of the medical staff on the ship. If you're a real engineer, let me know. If you are a real chef, let me know, because there's going to be real cooking going on board this ship. Even though we've still got the replicators, we're going to have real cooking going on board this ship. Alright, so all those kind of things are going to bring the ship to life and just make it a little bit more real, because before I had this idea about Patreon and about real people getting quarters on board the ship, I was just going to design the quarters anyway and kind of make up who the different people might be, but with real people actually coming on board the ship, I can actually add things, like somebody just might be into like the colour blue and they want a blue carpet, or they want something like that. All these different personalities all over the ship, it just makes the whole thing a little bit more alive and a little bit more real. Okay, let's go. As always, I hope the video finds you well. Do subscribe to the channel if this is your first visit here, and click the like button. It makes a huge difference. And I'll see you soon again with the next video. Bye for now.